for me, niching down really helped because it gave me direction. And then I think my audience, it just felt like my audience also had a kind of an idea of what I was making. Instead of one day I would do a tool review, the next day I was making a kind of a, high end is a strong word, but a kind of a nicer indoor desk. And then I was making a TV console table, and then I was making a table saw, jig or accessory for the workshop. So in the analytics, I saw my views go up, which was nice. I think it gave me some direction in terms of what I was going to make videos on.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of the YouTube Creators Hub podcast, where each and every Friday I sit down with a wonderful content creator and I chat with them about their channel, the mistakes they've made, and just get an overall scope of what their life is like as a creator. So if you're interested in that, definitely subscribe to the show. It's absolutely free. And speaking of free, we have no advertisers on this show. I'm only going to tell you about things that we personally offer creators. I offer one-on-one coaching. I offer a mastermind group, which is one of the biggest in the whole space, where you can chat with other creators. We do mastermind calls. We have creator-led calls. I do exclusive podcast recordings distributed to that group. It's just an overall, probably some of the best money you'll spend as a creator, as it's so inexpensive. And then we also offer channel reviews and audits, where I'll record a screencast video, 6 to 8 minutes, telling you where I think you should be spending your time. And then beyond that, we have the Entrepreneur's Minute, which is my email newsletter. If you want to keep up with me, things that I'm interested in, things going on behind the scenes, definitely take a look at that. And then our Entrepreneur's Toolbox, which is a running list of all the links, tools, and resources mentioned here on the podcast. And with that said, we'll go ahead and jump into this week's conversation. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the conversation portion of this week's episode of the Creators Hub show. As always, I'm joined today by a wonderful content creator, Thomas Kovich. I don't think I butchered that too bad. I had to practice off air before we hit record. But let me tell you a bit about Thomas. So Thomas runs the Thomas Custom Woodworks YouTube channel. As of recording of this episode today, 161,000 subscribers, just over 260 videos uploaded, and a crazy big and involved community over on that channel, where he talks about woodworking tips on a budget. And I'm just so excited. When Thomas reached out to me, I just realized instantly, I didn't even have to think about it. When I went to his channel, I said, I want to know what he's done to grow this channel. And he's been a creator for about 5 years. And it's part of his online woodworking business. He sells digital plans. He has a digital course coming out in February, affiliate revenue, plus obviously the ad revenue. And so Thomas has a really good thing going, and I'm really excited about featuring it here today on the podcast. So Thomas, how you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you, Dusty?
Doing fantastic. I'm just really intrigued by your business model, your channel as a whole. And so let's just dive into it. First open question, as always, what's the origin story? Take me back 5 years ago. What made you start a YouTube channel, and how did that process go?
Yeah, so me and my wife had just bought a house in 2019, and the house needed to be furnished. And famous last words, I said, I can build that. But I had no prior experience. And so, went down the YouTube rabbit hole, did some research online, looked up everything. And it was at the time I was teaching. I was a full-time PE teacher. And summer had just started, around the time that I was, thinking about getting into woodworking. And so I thought, I have a little bit more time on my hands. I'm going to start getting a few tools. We had just bought the house, and in the house it had a third car bay, but it was 2 cars wide, and then one side was 2 cars. So it actually, I have 3 walls in my garage workshop. It's a 198 square foot shop. And so I had the space, we needed the furniture, and I started building some very, rudimentary beginner type furniture that my wife, bless her heart, said that she really liked and let have in the house. And since then, my skills have grown. I've gotten some more tools, and it has been a very exciting, creative endeavor that I have gotten myself into. It's just nice, you go online, it's tough to find, the perfect nightstand, the perfect size, and so the nice thing about, or the perfect coffee table. So the nice thing about woodworking, you can build the exact dimensions, the exact style, the exact color, the exact wood that you want, which is really nice. So it's just a great creative outlet. And I started my YouTube channel around the same time, I believe in 2020. And it was just sort of a, hey, here's what I'm doing, kind of learn with me kind of a deal. And it has grown into a niche that is more workshop furniture. I still, build the stuff for my house and build the stuff for friends and family, but it is a lot of workshop furniture, workshop jigs, setting up a workshop. It's more workshop focused, and that's what all the plans that I sell are all, workshop furniture to help you build a workshop you can really be proud of.
So wait a minute. You had no experience in woodworking before the channel and kind of you starting this venture of your wife letting you make some of this kind of mismatch furniture. This was something that was a new venture for you alongside YouTube being a new venture, right?
Yes. Yeah. This was a new venture. I tell on the website that my upcoming course is on, in my bio, I actually say, right out of college, I didn't even know, what button to press on a drill to make it go in forward and reverse. That was maybe 15 years ago. And so, yeah, I had embarrassingly no knowledge a long time ago. And then I sort of, as I got a little older out of college, I got a little bit more experience, but nothing in the woodworking realm in terms of like building furniture and making things out of wood. But yeah, and then before, this is really actually my second YouTube channel. I don't really tell a lot of people. I've been a personal trainer for about 13 years, and I still do that. That's about 20% of my total income. But I had a fitness YouTube channel, which I don't think is any longer on YouTube, but I must have had, I had less than 100 subscribers. It was just sort of something I did for fun. This is really my first YouTube channel that I believe it started in 2020, that I really did my research. I'm still learning, obviously. I'm still making a lot of mistakes, but I'm really trying to do this YouTube channel right. So I had, a tiny bit of experience with the YouTube, not much. And then, yeah, basically no experience woodworking prior to buying the house and starting around, 2019, 2020.
And are you a full-time entrepreneur now as far as doing the personal training and then the woodworking stuff? I assume, are you no longer a PE teacher is what I'm asking?
Correct. Yeah. So when the woodworking business started growing, maybe 2 years ago, I stopped being a PE teacher. We had just had our first child. And when I was teaching and then personal training and then doing a little woodworking. And so I would basically, long story short, I'd go to work before at the time we had just the one daughter. Now we have two. But at the time we had the one, I'd go to work. My daughter was still asleep. I would come home from work teaching and personal training. My daughter was put to bed, and I thought, well, that's not going to work. I want to see my child. So I stopped. Luckily, the woodworking business was growing, which I do from home in my garage workshop. And so I stopped being a PE teacher. So now I still do the personal training. That's about 20% of my total income. And then, 80% of my total income is the woodworking business, which is the YouTube plans, Amazon affiliate, kind of all the things, which I'm sure I'll go into. But yeah, I'm no longer a full-time junior high PE teacher.
What was the moment that you realized that this was something that you could do full time and it wasn't something that you just were going to do as a hobby or something that you were going to do just part time?
Well, it wasn't when I saw my first AdSense check. I'll tell you that. I am not one of the AdSense creators that I know they're out there, absolutely, but I am not the one that makes the majority of their income from AdSense. It's a fairly small piece of the pie. So I really started when the plan sales, which is the majority of my woodworking income, selling digital plans on how to build workshop furniture. When that started growing and taking off a little bit, I thought this could be a thing where I can be home more and work on the woodworking business, and it can, more than replace the PE teacher income, and I can do this almost full time, which was nice because I started with selling physical products. When I started woodworking, I thought, hey, I'm making cutting boards, charcuterie boards, serving trays, things like that. So I started with that, and in the first 3 months of selling those items, I had 2 sales total, which was not great when you have a family. Which taught me my first lesson in kind of the woodworking YouTube business area, which was listen to your audience. A lot of my YouTube audience and other social media audience is other woodworkers. So when I was promoting my products and they were not doing well, I took a step back and I thought, why are these not doing well? And I concluded a lot of my audience is other woodworkers who could make the stuff I was making, the cutting boards, the serving trays, all the little stuff that I was doing, furniture. I was trying to promote some furniture. And so then I started thinking, what should I do? And I was just thinking about it for a while. And while I was thinking about it, I was making workshop furniture for my workshop. And I would get these messages, comments, emails. People would ask me if I had plans for this furniture. And I would say no. And I would even tell them like other people who sold plans. And I did this for a couple months. And then finally I thought, Thomas, it just clicked. I thought, maybe you should make plans. People ask you for plans. Instead of saying no, maybe you make the plans. And so I started making plans, and that started growing, and then started growing enough where I could turn this into a large part of my business.
So the moment that you realized that the audience was built on more woodworkers and not necessarily people who were interested in watching someone do woodworking, and you niched down to that target demographic, what were the changes that you saw as far as analytics wise and everything in between?
Yeah, I saw a lot on my YouTube channel where before I was kind of all over the place. It was really helpful because, at least for me, I don't want to speak for everyone because I know people have different successes in different areas. But for me, niching down really helped because it gave me direction. And then I think my audience, it just felt like my audience also had a kind of an idea of what I was making. Instead of one day I would do a tool review, the next day I was making a kind of high end is a strong word, but a kind of a nicer indoor desk, and then I was making a TV console table, and then I was making a table saw, jig or accessory for the workshop. So in the analytics, I saw my views go up, which was nice. I think it gave me some direction in terms of what I was going to make videos on, where kind of it was just an open slate, kind of a clean slate. Before it was, it was a blank canvas and I had no direction. Where now I was like, okay, my niche is the workshop furniture, maybe tools in the workshop, furniture, jigs, things that help you with your tools, kind of anything that will help you as a woodworker, but also help your workshop. And so that really helped, and I could see that in my audience. My audience was watching the videos longer. They weren't clicking out as fast. My views were going up. They were more consistent. That was a big one. I think before when I was making, I would make one I made one on a video on a folding workbench, which did well. And then I had another video that didn't have anything to do with the workshop, and then the views were back down. So the views were more consistent, which really helped. So for me, niching down really was a bonus in terms of my channel, and I think the audience felt it. I've heard the people talk about it's like going into a restaurant. If you go to a burger place and you like their burgers, but then one day you go in and they have burritos, you know, they might not come back if you just never know what they're going to have. Kind of like, well, it's all food, right? Burritos and burgers. Yeah, but people want to know exactly what they're getting. And I kind of like that frame of thought. And I think that's really helped me. When they come into my channel, it's not going to be somebody renovating a loft in their house, and then another time it's going to be building a workbench, and then another time they're sculpting a project out of wood. It's all working with wood, but I think for my channel, it's helped to niche down a little more on the workshop as a whole.
Yeah, I love that. And it really, to me, it's about, that's when you can lean into, okay, now that I know who I'm speaking to, you have no qualms about, well, what kind of videos am I creating? What videos do I put on my idea list? You don't have to worry about all that. It really eliminates a lot of that resistance that a lot of creators deal with of, honestly, one of the main things creators have the hardest time with, and I work with creators every week, almost every day, and the days that I don't work with them, I'm interviewing them like I am today with you, is figuring out who their audience is, because they'll just throw a whole bunch of stuff at the wall and see what sticks, and that never works on YouTube, and it's not going to work going forward. Now, I have to ask you this, Thomas. I look at your channel and I see that you haven't posted a YouTube short in about 3 months. So I want to ask you about that format of content. You are getting averaging 30 to 100,000 views, some upwards of 500,000 views. What made you decide to lean in more on long form? Is it more of a time thing? If you had time, would you do short form? Give me your opinion on short form and what it has done for your channel.
Yeah, I think the short form is actually great for starting a channel. For me, at least, what I saw with the short form and how I view it now, I'll start with how I used it before. I was having a lot of trouble getting subscribers. That sort of was taking the longest. I have some videos pop off and do well, and then I would have trouble getting that subscriber number to come up. And so I found shorts was really helpful with getting subscribers. I was able to grow my subscriber base a lot with shorts because there's a little, I found it a little easier to get views, and I could crank out more of them because they were shorter videos. Now, I also know that subscribers don't really matter a ton in the grand scheme of things. It's more about views. The brands want to see a high view count. You get more eyeballs on your products when you have higher view count. Having a high base does not necessarily mean you'll get high views. And so you'll get more AdSense with views. The subscriber doesn't really help, except I will say my thinking is, let's say a brand they're looking at a lot of channels. Maybe a brand doesn't have a ton of time. They just have time to look at a few metrics. I think having a channel with a higher subscriber base could potentially help put a feeling in that brand's mind of confidence that they want to work with you if that subscriber number is higher. Let's say they're thinking between, this person has a similar amount of views as this person, but this person A has 100,000 subscribers, person B has 4,000 subscribers. Might as well go with person A with 100,000 subscribers. So the shorts help me get the subscribers. The reason I don't do a ton now is I just don't know if it messes with my long form views, if it helps my long form views, if it hurts it. I know sort of the end game with the audience I want to grow is more longer form. I feel like maybe those people have a higher chance of buying my products, of being a bigger, for lack of a better term, fan of the channel, more connected with me. I have a better chance of building more community with the longer form viewers, which I really love the community on YouTube. And so I've actually created a second channel. I'm still posting a fair amount of shorts on Thomas Custom Woodwork Shorts, a very creative name. And so I do post shorts on that channel because I have these short form videos. I post a lot on Instagram, TikTok, because again, I do have some products that I sell, and it's quicker to make these shorter videos, and I enjoy creating the shorter videos, so I don't want to stop doing that as part of the marketing, yes, but even the community on Instagram is great. So I do still make short content, vertical content, 30 to 60 seconds. I just now put those on a second YouTube channel.
Yeah, the reason why I ask is because I'm doing somewhat of an experiment. Well, it started as an experiment, but I made a decision when we had the triplets that I was going to start a family channel, and I wasn't going to do long form because I didn't have the time. I was going to open up, a TikTok, a YouTube channel, but I was going to do vertical video, and I'm about 30 to 40 days in, and across all the platforms, I think I'm at around like 70,000 followers already. And we're talking 12 to 15 million views across all my videos. And so I'm learning how to tell stories in a different format. But I've realized that vertical video and short form content is not made for all different types of channels. Like my tutorial channel, I've tinkered with some stuff and things of the nature, and I'm going to do some down the road because I do think there's benefits to a certain degree. But that channel really thrives with long form video, educational style commentary by myself as I'm showcasing stuff on the screencast. So really learning, and it's kind of helped me sharpen my skill set of becoming a storyteller and learning how to edit short form. And I'm having a whole lot of fun with it. And so I'm going to be able to report back here on the podcast. So it's good to hear you say that and kind of how you've diversified and you've kind of segmented it. You're putting your short form here where it lives and where you think it can thrive. And then you're really leaning into where the bread is buttered on the main channel, which is the long form content. Now, let's talk about the strategy of the channel design. When I go to your channel, it's super clean. There's not much fluff. The packaging is super simple, yet super intuitive of knowing what the video is about. Can you talk about how you've settled on a thumbnail and title styling as far as the channel now and kind of how it's evolved over time?
Yeah. So, I mean, podcasts like this has really helped, other podcasts, doing some research online, but I've settled into a style that is very simple in terms of a thumbnail. There is one thing kind of going on, and I try to put in a little curiosity with the thumbnail and the title. So I don't want to make it so curious that they have no idea what's going on. I did that a little bit. I didn't find that it worked as well. I want them to have some idea what's going on instead of a thumbnail of just my workshop and then a title that says, "Don't do this." For my style, I like a little more in terms of what's going on. And so my thumbnail, very simple. Let's say I did a video that did well a little while ago on drawer slides. The thumbnail was of me pulling out a drawer very close up so they could see it's a drawer. There's something going on with building drawers with an arrow pointing at where the slide is. The wooden drawer slide, which the video is kind of about saving money, not buying metal drawer slides. But you couldn't really see the wooden drawer slides. Just an arrow pointing to that area of the drawer opening. And then I think the title was something like, "Stop buying drawer slides." And so I'd like to have a sense of curiosity without making it so much curiosity they have no idea what it is. So even though there is some curiosity in that video, for example, they can see it's about a drawer. They can see it's about a drawer slide because that was in the title. But there's still some curiosity. Why should I not buy drawer slides? Are drawer slides bad? Are they too expensive? I mean, I don't know if that was the exact title, but it was something around that. So that's sort of the style that I've settled into. And I like the idea of having some sort of similarity and cohesiveness in the thumbnails, especially the thumbnails. Titles are good too, but especially the thumbnails. I heard this a little while ago. It's kind of nice if somebody looks at a thumbnail and thinks, "Oh, that's Thomas Custom Woodworks." I don't know if that happens, but I like the idea of that. If somebody sees immediately, "Oh, I like his videos," that I can just tell that's one of his thumbnails. Let me click on that instead of another one. That's sort of the idea behind it as well. I also like to have, the lighting pretty good. So simple, to the point, one thing going on in the thumbnail, and then a descriptor in the title and thumbnail with some curiosity. I can't give everything away. I mean, just from a psychology standpoint, it's just if they already have the answer when looking at the thumbnail and title, there just won't be, even if it could be really useful, they may not click on the video. So that is, again, I'm still a very much work in progress with my channel. But that is my ideas in terms of the packaging.
Interrupt the show just briefly to tell you about two different things. First is our YouTube channel review service. For $50, you get access to myself and my opinions on your channel. I record a screencast video telling you where I believe you should be putting your time as a creator. And then lastly, we do offer the mastermind group. I record an exclusive podcast episode for those folks over there every Friday. You also get access to our mastermind calls, our creator-led calls, our creator forums. It is probably the best money you can spend in the creator space. With that said, let's go ahead and get back to the interview. Are you using any AI tools to help you along the way, or are you just kind of winging it as far as not using the latest and greatest?
Yeah, I am not using as much as other people that I probably should. I do have it. I usually have it for some idea generation of titles. I'll tell them what the video is about. or what I think it's going to be about. I try and create my title and thumbnail before I start filming the video, so there can be some cohesiveness there. But I will have it give me some ideas, sort of quick ideas, and then I'll sort of pick one or two that I like, and I'll tweak it myself, and I'll say, give me some more ideas like this. So I don't use any AI in terms of creating the thumbnail. I use some AI, just ChatGPT at the moment, for idea generation, sometimes for the video, but mainly for the titles in terms of just getting ideas flowing. For my business, I use AI for the title generation for YouTube, but in a business in general, a lot of writing and outline tasks for the course that I'm coming out with, I use it a lot for creating the outline. It takes a long time to prompt it, and then I tweak it. So it still takes, it's not like it takes 0 minutes, but when I use it to write things or create outlines or create rough drafts of things, it just take for writing tasks for myself. It might take the task from an hour down to 20 minutes. And so that's a real time saver. So that's sort of where I'm using AI at the moment.
And you mentioned that you do a lot of the thumbnail and the packaging before you record. So do you have a running list of ideas? I mean, I would assume it's endless, right? Because you could make all the things that you could think of with woodworking. So how does that process work? Does it go from ideation from a list of ideas, and then once you have, set on a topic or a title of a video, it moves over to the next phase, which then is you designing the thumbnail? How does that process work?
Yeah, it's like you've looked at my Google Doc. Yeah, so I have a whole list of ideas, ton of ideas, but it's important for me to have to make sure those that document is fluid. So I have ideas I think will work, and I have a ton of them. And every time I think of an idea, I put it on the list. But it has to be fluid, because if I make a video, and I think I had one video idea about drawer slides, and so then I made the video. It did really well. Well, I can't just keep doing the list of ideas that I had. I created some more ideas that were different, of course, but also about drawer slides. Similarly, I had a folding workbench video do well. Saves a lot of space, folding workbench. And so, that video did well. I keep the list fluid. Let me come up with some ideas of maybe space-saving furniture, folding workshop furniture. But yeah, so I come up with some ideas I think will do well on my channel. When I pick an idea to do for my next video, then it moves over to the title generation, where I have to come up with the title first, because that will affect my hook and my intro. The hook, first 5 seconds, maybe intro, first 20, 25 seconds, because that will affect the hook, because I don't want a title. The thing for me, the tough part, if I make a video, I'm done with the video, and then I try and choose the title later, I want the title to be intriguing enough to click. But if I make a really intriguing title, but I have not said anything about that title in the video or the hook or the intro, then that could be a little clickbaity. I could lose trust. So I come up with the idea, then I come up with the title so that I can incorporate what's in and then I come up with the thumbnail kind of together. They're kind of a matching pair. So idea, then title and thumbnail. And then once I have the title, then I can create the video of the idea, which includes the hook and the intro, which I gotta make sure to reference the title, because when someone clicks on the video with the title and thumbnail, I need to make sure I can't remember the term, you know it obviously, but it's like confirm the click maybe. So when they click on the title and the video, they need to make sure they're in the right spot. So then my intro kind of reinforces what the title and thumbnail say. And then in the voiceover, I also make sure that it's, it has to do with the title and thumbnail, the voiceover that I put in when I'm done filming the video and editing it. So it all kind of works together. But yeah, for me, idea first, then title, then thumbnail, then video with the hook and the intro and the voiceover.
A lot of that is similar to my Notion workflow. It's just you're doing it within your Google Docs. So it's really cool to hear kind of the comparisons of what you're doing. Now, I'm on your website right now, and one of the main sources of your income are these plans that you're selling. So people watch your videos, which then lead them to your website, which is just thomascustomwoodworks.com. And you have a page where you're selling a number of plans. You've got a bunch of them on your website, which is amazing. So let's talk about monetization. Tell me the different buckets, because listening to this podcast, I love talking. Honestly, I get more excited when I hear someone tell me the different avenues that they're making money, as opposed to like, oh, I mean, I've had people come on this podcast and say they're making, $50,000 a month. That's great. But man, where are you making it from? Like, where are these different sources of revenue coming from? So maybe break down that for us, for you and your business, and give us a percentage of what those may be for your income.
Yeah, and these percentages are going to be really exact, just because I I just kind of made a spreadsheet and figured out exactly what I did last year in terms of income, 2025, and so I'll break down the buckets and the percentages, absolutely, and some, as you'll see, are much higher than others. I'll go from kind of lowest to highest. So lowest is Amazon affiliates. So I will, I'll put an affiliate link of a product or a tool or an accessory in my YouTube videos and other places. And then if somebody buys that product from the link, then I get a very small percentage. So of my woodworking income, that's the smallest at 3%. Now, my whole income, again, I mentioned about 20% of my whole income is the personal training, but I'll just go over the woodworking YouTube kind of woodworking business income here. So Amazon affiliates is 3%. Then I get some money from TikTok and Facebook. They pay a little bit in terms of just natively on the platform. So about 6% of my income is from TikTok and Meta. And then the next highest is YouTube AdSense. So I do get some money from just Google pays me based on the views. So AdSense for me is 9%. So this is a fairly small percentage of my woodworking income. It's I would love for that to be higher, but that's just the reality. 9%. Then brand deals is my second highest at 11%. So sometimes brands will reach out to me and they'll want to have me do a 60 or 90-second ad read in one of my videos or use a tool in a video. I only if the product is woodworking related, I don't take anything that I wouldn't use in my shop because that's my business. But yeah, it has to be, a good product or service, but brand deals, that's at 11%. And then the highest percentage of my income is my plans at 71%, which is the majority. It's the most. And so, when I did this 2 years ago, it was kind of similar, where I was kind of nervous. I think in 2024, the plans were about 60%. And I was kind of nervous. I thought, oh, all my eggs in one basket. And then although I still think it's good to have different streams of income, I was reading this book and the author was saying that it's okay to have one stream that is much higher, and you almost want to focus on that more. Like, that is working. So put your focus on what is working and increase that, instead of putting all your focus on maybe the other buckets that aren't working, and then you neglect what is working, and then the highest percentage goes down. So now I've accepted that is okay, and I've actually been focusing a lot this past year, on the plans to really keep what is working. I want to make sure it keeps working. So plans on my website is, on how to build workshop furniture, is the majority of my income at 71%.
So I love that there is an old saying, and I don't want to misquote what the saying is, but it's basically lean in, like you said, to what's working and eliminate everything else. Normally, I believe the quote is like 90% of your work, or 90% of your income comes from 5% of the work. It's something along those lines. It was Jim Rome who said it. Zig Ziglar might have said it back in the day. But basically, what creators and entrepreneurs do is, that would be like me ignoring this podcast. This podcast is a good percentage of my income from auxiliary, from YouTube coaching and the creator program and things of that nature. So why would I be tinkering around with other stuff? That doesn't mean you don't experiment. So how do you balance trying new things like you're doing with this course coming out in February, and still leaning into what is the bread and butter of the income generating, which is your plans?
Yeah. So one thing that I have been really trying to do in my business And I just keep telling myself this, and it sounds simple, but believe me, it was hard for me to grasp this for a while. Is in my business, if I'll try something, and then if it works, I keep doing that thing. I do more of that thing. If it doesn't work, I stop doing that thing and I try something else. So that is really, it sounds simple, but it's really helped me out. Where sometimes I think we can get into a mode where it's like, something's not working. Let me just try and fix it, and let me try and put all my time and effort into it. And I don't know how, you do need to give things time, but I think it can be tricky to focus on things that aren't quite working, and you don't see them, working out in the future. Another thing, where to put my time, I'll go back to the listen to your audience. So, people are like, I get, sales is one thing. That's my audience telling me that they like my plans. YouTube, people will ask for plans. And so my audience, in the comments, I'll get emails. I try and listen to what my audience is saying, and they're liking the plan, so I'll do more of those. And now, and listening to your audience, it might mean reading the comments, getting direct messages, getting emails, views. What are they saying? What do they want? Sometimes the comment can be rude, but but even the rude comments, you can get some information from them. I like to use the example. Someone said to me how my audio was like horrible, and they were like, it was like a pretty rude comment about how, like, I should stop making videos, that it gets so horrible. And it's like, yeah, that is rude, but it's also good info that my audio is not good, so I should try and fix that. So listening to your audience, which is why I'm focusing so much on this course. The course is how to use the 7 most common power tools in woodworking. It's a full video course on how to use the 7 most common woodworking tools so you can build whatever you want. And how I came up with this course idea is I was listening to my audience, were people that would buy my plans, or people in my YouTube comments, or I'd get emails. They would in some way inform me that they were a beginner with using tools. Maybe they don't have a ton of tools. They just got some tools. They're still learning. They don't know everything about using tools. They'd say, I'm not comfortable with the table saw. Is there any way to build this without using the table saw? So the reason I'm focusing on this full course is because I was listening to what my audience wants. So that's sort of, with the sales and views and some of those metrics is what I choose to focus on. But also listening to my audience really helps me decide what to focus on. Last quick thing, I thought a couple years ago, I thought I should start a Patreon. Everyone's starting a Patreon. Not one person in my, at the time, maybe 3-4 years of YouTube and social media, not one person had ever asked me to start a Patreon or wanted to support me in that way. But I thought, I should start a Patreon. I started it. The most I had at one time was like 3 paid patrons. And so I thought, okay, my audience did not ask for this. Maybe and I gave it a while. Like I gave it like 8 or 9 months. And so maybe I should not have started it. So, I just say it helped me focus, listening to my audience.
I love that. I think a lot of it is looking what other people in your niche are doing. Like, what are other, trades channels doing? And some are leaning more towards courses, some for, selling plans and products like what you're doing. And that's just, when I was looking at my creator business, I was not offering coaching, and I had so many people just requesting it, and I kept trying all these different things, and I was swinging and missing. But when I offered coaching and a mastermind group, those 2 things really stuck out, and people really took to them. And I kicked myself knowing that I could have made a lot more money if I would just have done it sooner. And so listen to your audience, because they can tell you what they want to buy from you. I mean, you're the authority, and so they can kind of tell you, where they would like to invest in your business and help you out. So as we approach the end of this conversation, Thomas, this has been fantastic. You are so knowledgeable, and you're the epitome of why I love doing this podcast and why I love YouTube and the creator business as a whole. Because 5 years ago, you weren't even woodworking. And now 2026, you have a tax return sitting right next to you as we're talking, where YouTube is directly influencing your family's life for the better, financially and just overall your well-being. So as creators are listening to this right now, what would your parting words be to them? Whether they're starting or growing or trying to monetize a channel, what would your words of advice be to those people?
That's a great question. I'm glad you asked. One thing I'll say, even with people say, "Oh, his product is the biggest source of his income." Well, the reason it is a larger part of my income is because of YouTube. I mean, YouTube, obviously, each video provides. I try to provide immense value on a standalone video, but it is a great tool to get the word out that I have these products and services. But what I would love, what I wish somebody would have told me when I started a YouTube channel, I wish somebody would have sat me down and said, "Thomas, you will not get any views at the beginning," and that would have actually really helped because, and there are some that get views right at the beginning, but most do not get like any views. And I didn't get any views at the beginning. And I thought I was going to get views at the beginning, which I'll tell you why that hurt me in a second. I see these videos. This person made this table saw accessory and they got 100,000 views. I have an idea for a table saw accessory and I think my video is pretty good, and it gets maybe 100 views or less. And I was just confused and disappointed when because the views that you see when you open up your YouTube homepage, it's mostly videos with a high number of views. And so I wish somebody, so I would like to say, if you're starting a YouTube channel or at the beginning, just be prepared that you won't get any views. Because what happened to me is I was expecting a lot of views. I didn't get them. And after 4 or 5 videos, these videos take a long time for me, especially at the beginning. I was so disappointed because I thought I was going to get views and I wasn't. But I took a break. I took a break for like 4 or 5 months because I was like, why am I putting this effort? Nobody's watching. And then I did a little more research, a little more digging, and then I discovered that, oh, it's normal to not get views at the beginning. So I wish I would have got that 4 or 5 months back, but I'm glad that I learned it. And then now looking at last time I looked at my first video ever, now it has like over 30,000 views, which is actually pretty dang good, at least for my channel. The other thing, the last thing that I will say that I wish I would have known at the beginning, or people starting out or been doing this a while. I thought when I started and at the beginning of YouTube and even before I started my channel, I thought that the YouTubers, the creators just got paid with AdSense and brand deals. I was like, those are the buckets. That's how they make their money. When in reality, if you watch most YouTube videos, most creators that you enjoy, you will notice that they make their own product or service. I mean, you do it on this podcast because you're helping so many creators. I do it on my YouTube channel because I have products that I really think will help people in their workshop. Most of the YouTubers, they're a big part of, I would say maybe even the biggest part of their income. A lot of them is their own product or service. So just I would tell people, keep that in the back of your mind. As you're going along, you're making some money with AdSense, maybe not. Maybe you're doing some brand deals or you're excited to maybe get some in the future. Have that thought in your head of, is there a product or service that could really help my audience? And, that's really what helped me in terms of my income, but just helping a lot of people.
And I think that the common misconception is that the amount of people you have to have willing to give you money has to be an astronomical amount. When we think of ad revenue, which is why putting all your eggs in one basket is really frowned upon, and I discourage it all the time, because yes, ad revenue fluctuates. Some months it's great, others it's not so great. But if you have a few hundred people willing to give you $25, $50 a month, or whatever it may be, you can do the math. That's real good money. And so going ahead and targeting your audience, like we talked about at the top of the show, figuring out who you're speaking with, and then figuring out what problem they have and how you can solve it. That's really it. It really boils down to that. And I tell you, the past 45 minutes have absolutely flown by. So I'm going to have all of Thomas's links in the show notes, as I always do. Again, it's Thomas Custom Woodworks on YouTube. I encourage you to go to his website, which is just thomascustomwoodworks.com. Go to the tab that says plans and just look at what he's selling. And all of these YouTube videos where people are watching, every time he uploads, it's a potential thousands of sales. And not just that day, but for months and years down the line, which is the cool thing about YouTube. So Thomas, thank you again for giving us your time today. And I really appreciate you coming on the show.
Absolutely, Dusty. If I could mention one last thing about the course, if you wouldn't mind, super quick, just where people could find it. Is that okay?
Yes, absolutely.
I'll keep this really brief, but I really, I'm really excited about this because I think it could help a lot of people, really learn and build and create anything they want with power tools for woodworking. Um, the course is called Master Your Power Tools. It's actually on a separate website. It's thomaswoodworkingacademy.com. Enrollment is going to be in mid-February 2026, and it's going to be just for 10 days. And so go over there, get on the wait list because since enrollment is pretty short amount of time, I want to make sure people don't miss it. And then the next open enrollment, the next time I'll open it won't be for several months. So thomaswoodworkingacademy.com and get on the wait list. I have some cool freebies over there to help you get started. But I'm really excited for that course coming out in mid-February.
That's awesome. I will also link that down below. Thomas, thank you again for your time.
Thank you, Dusty.
And that is a wrap on this week's episode. If you're a creator and you'd like to get in touch with us, all of our services will be linked in the show notes as previously mentioned. Our creator coaching program, our creator mastermind, our creator channel reviews, and everything such as the entrepreneur's toolbox, as well as the other list of resources mentioned here on the show. But if you've made it this far, I want to ask you a favor. Go ahead and subscribe to the show, whether you're listening on a podcast player or you're watching over on our YouTube channel. Subscribe. That way you're notified every Friday when we go live with a new interview, and there's going to be a ton of extra stuff coming, so you don't want to miss that. With that said, hope you have a great day, and I'll talk to you guys next week.